Hello again, everybody. Today I'll be doing something a little bit different than usual, and I'll be talking about this new boss we have from the new event. Specifically the special difficulty, of course, because honestly I've spent way too much time on this trying to figure out like the best teams possible, the best auto teams anyway, because you know I don't really play manual because it's way too much work. But as you can see on the screen, I eventually came up with this team over here, which is basically Anna being boosted by Christmas Yori over there, since she is the closest one to her, and she gives, in case you guys don't know, she gives a lot of TP to the person closest to her, and also a good boost in attack, magic attack damage. So that way, Anna can keep using her burst as often as possible, while also getting some TP from New Year Ninika over there, right next to her, who also really boosts a lot of magic attack. I've also came up with a different team, actually better than this one. Didn't really record it because it's honestly kind of pointless to record it, since they do actually have more time left than this team, as you'll see eventually. The time the other team actually got left was around 20 seconds, but this team, I think if I remember correctly, only gets around 11 seconds left when they beat all the 15 minions. But as you will probably see a little bit further on, the time that's left doesn't really matter too much. So don't worry about it. I'll show it on screen, the team I came up with that actually was better than this one, but don't worry if you if you don't have the characters, I mean, because it's definitely not really needed to save as much time as possible. Heck, you can even finish this phase with like 1 second left or something. It really doesn't matter, as you will see in just a little bit. As you can see, this team is almost done with this phase. Any second now. There you go, Anna probably kills the last one. There she goes. And we have 15 seconds, actually not 15 seconds, we get a little bit time after completing the phase, because it's just how the game works, because they still have to run up to the boss and do whatever the hell they need to do. But I think it was like, what, 11 seconds or something? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. They can barely do any damage to the boss on this phase, even with 20 seconds left. With 20 seconds they can do a little bit, but the difference really doesn't matter. But now the second phase, honestly, the really annoying one, because here you can't really do much. This phase, basically, the boss just charges up a really strong attack that will kill the first 3 characters in your team, or the 3 from the left, the right, I mean, sorry. So in this case would be Saren, Tamaki, and Vikara. And there's only one way to avoid that damage. He basically one-shots everyone. It doesn't really matter how much defense you have, but he basically one-shots everyone. And the only way to avoid this is by making them invincible. So Vikara does have invincibility with her burst, so that's why I'm saving it for just the right moment. And Saren also has invincibility. And the moment he actually uses this burst or charge attack is at around 45 or 46 seconds left. So any second now, as you'll see in just a second. Any second now, as soon as Labrista finishes her ult. There she goes. Or there he goes. As you can see, Tamaki just died because, you know, she doesn't have any invincibility. But Vikara and Taran didn't die because they do have invincibility. So yeah, another strategy for this phase is just to do as much damage as possible and to just let the 3 frontline characters just die. But I don't really like that strategy, and this is like the best one I was able to come up with. I'm not sure if it's actually possible to kill him before he uses charge attack. I've tried. I did use a team that came really close to it, but I really only needed just 1 more second and I would be able to do it, but it just wouldn't happen. They would all just die like 1 second too late, I guess. But as you can see, they all survived, or almost everyone, and we were able to do a little bit of damage. But don't worry if your team dies, because after he uses his charge attack, he does lose a lot of defense, and he starts losing HP over time. So it's not really a problem if they do actually die too soon, or if you're not able to kill him before he uses his charge attack. So it's that phase really don't really need to worry too much about it. But now the third phase, of course. This really, it's kind of a DPS check, just a little bit. Of course, you do still need a tank, you do still need some protection. His burst doesn't really do enough damage to kill everyone. It does kind of come close to it, but it's not really enough. Over here, I'm using Monica, but you can also just use IgorAkou, because Monica could die. Mine came really close to dying. But if you do have Kuka, it's pretty much the same. I just kind of felt like using Monica because, I don't know, I kind of like her. But here, as what? As long as you can actually reach his half HP mark, like if you can do enough damage to remove half of his HP, he actually gets, again, he actually loses a lot of defense again for some reason. And you start doing a buttload of damage. As you can see, they're not really doing that much damage. They're doing a good amount of damage, actually. I mean, I think they're doing a lot of damage, never mind. But after he loses half of his HP, as you just saw from the animation, he loses his arm, it's kind of funny. He loses a lot of defense, and they start doing way more damage. So you might think you don't have enough time, but don't worry, you definitely do if your team is strong enough. And they will hopefully kill him before the time runs out. On this attempt, I actually got a lot of time left, as you will probably see. And as you can see, the damage he does is not really that much. Especially after he loses half of his HP. And there you go. He died with 14 seconds left. Again, you can use Kuka instead of Monica if you want to. It's pretty much the same. IgorAkou, not the regular one. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for this boss. On screen, I'll put all the teams I used, and other teams you can also use, just in case you're missing some characters or something like that. And I do really recommend using Kiaru, Princess Kiaru, because no other character was good enough for the single target damage, because this boss actually removes TP, the TP fill rate, from the 3 closest characters to the boss. So usually using physical character doesn't really work that much, because they don't really recover as much TP. You'll notice they actually take so long to use their bursts. So because of that, they don't really do that much damage, and they lose all the buffs because they don't use their bursts in time and whatnot. So yeah, I really do recommend magic teams for this. But do let me know if you actually can find a physical team. It would be kind of cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And I hope this has been helpful for anyone out there. And I'll see you guys some other time.